We'll give everybody a little bit of a moment to jump in on this live with huge federal court updates. So I am live right now, and unlike some individuals, we have to work around the clock to pay for all of our legal proceedings. And so you see some beautiful people here. I see the Hudson sisters back there. I see Sissy. I see Deanna. I see George. And I just think it's best that I share the update literally right in here in the working room so that I don't have to repeat myself, because right now, myself, Randy, Deuce, and Shara are the only individuals that know what happened today. And it was, to say the least,
what can I guess?
Intense. Emotional, definitely draining as well, to the point where I have this many notes. It was very concerning. As a matter of fact, for those that are in the chat right now, and honestly, I can't see your chat right now. I'm streaming from the phone through the laptop, which doesn't allow me to see your chat. One of the biggest revelations that I'm about to share with you, and it is huge, that up to 2 months ago, John Crook was looking for a hitman to take my life. And so we're going to get into all of that, and we're going to get into so much more. And so I have a tremendous amount to share with you, to the point of we now have enough evidence to include Stupid Dave as part of a defendant in this federal case as well. I'm going to dig into that. We're going to dig into other parties in this case, the illegal activities of Deuce and what he did today, the ridiculousness of what he did today, and the beauty of what Shara did. And I want to stress this, and I have to be so clear. There is a motive and there is a reason behind sharing this with you: protection. And it comes straight down to protection. Shara's life is in danger. My life is in danger. George's life is in danger. Deanna's life is in danger. You have two residents of Otter Creek that are neighboring to Turd Purgatory whose lives could be in danger with these unhinged mental individuals who are continuing to threaten our lives on a daily basis. So I've got a lot to go over, and I know you have a ton of questions. And today cost me, it's a 7-hour deposition. Not only does it cost me for the court reporter and all of that, it's almost $400 an hour for my lawyer as well. And a full day of that. It's just, it's crazy, the expenses to get justice here in Florida. And to the point where we have to go to the federal court. And so there's a lot that I'm going to share with you. And some are in the live stream right now, and you are watching as I'm live, and some will be jumping in afterwards. And I can't stress this enough. Shara did an absolutely incredible job today, with her life being threatened by these unhinged individuals. And it goes far beyond Lynette and Crook. It goes to the Walruses. It goes to Patty Plummer. It goes to Deuce. It goes well beyond, and I'm going to get into it. I'm going to get into the current objective of Crooks to get a hitman. I'm going to get into the illegal activity of Deuce. But understand this: people's lives need to be protected. Shara's life needs to be protected, regardless of whether I disagree with her on things or not. Nobody's life should be threatened in this. And we all know our lives have been threatened in this. And we all know Shara's life is now being threatened in this. This is some of the most gross, some of the most condemning information I've ever seen in my life, to the point where I'm even telling George, wow, would we have ever thought any of this would have happened getting on YouTube? All right, so today, keep in mind, number one, my deposition was on Monday, and frankly, verbally destroyed Deuce, to the point where he closed the deposition early, which, by the way, legally, you can only be in a deposition for 7 hours, okay? And so Deuce files a motion saying, Jeremy told me to shut up, shut up. Well, it just so happens that there's a 320-page document now of that deposition. And as you read that deposition, or as you see others that are reading that deposition, take into account a couple different things. Number one, I already knew that we were going to be adding Deuce and others to the defendant list on the federal court case. And so the aspect of what this man is doing to me, literally taking it upon himself to be a ringmaster of creating an anti-what the Hale's social media ecosystem, bringing on walruses, bringing on Stupid Dave, bringing on other individuals that are all, by the way, Deuce has incriminated so many, and all the evidence was given today, and there's so much more coming. There's so much more you don't even know about yet that we haven't revealed. All right. That being said, with the deposition, my deposition being released, understand, number one, I knew that he was being added as a defendant. Number two, understand that this man is proactively trying to be a ringleader of a circus of a bunch of clowns, trying to destroy my life, trying to destroy my income, trying to destroy my personal relationships, and the list goes on and on. And so some of you are going to go, dang, Jeremy, you weren't mean enough to him. And some of you are going to go, you're too mean. Really? How would you respond if somebody was being the ringleader to destroying your life and they're deposing you for a federal case, which you know they're going to be a defendant in? All right, let's get into it because I got a ton. And we got an auction. And by the way, Megan Fox and Tug, that umbrella guy, and Shizzy Wisnut will be going over the depositions. Tonight, Megan Fox on her channel is going to be doing a live reading with that umbrella guy for 2 hours. They're going to have to break it up in 2 hours. Remember, this was a 7-hour deposition. I don't know who's playing who. I have been invited to come in and play myself, but I have an auction tonight as well. So no pre-recorded video today. It is a live stream, and I appreciate you being here and appreciate your support, and understand this is for protection of people. So one of the very first things that Shar shared with us, well, you know what? Let me back up. One of the very first things that I noticed is Deuce refused to show himself on camera this time. Anybody want to guess why he refused to show himself on camera? As I shared with you exactly what he looked like on camera during my deposition, he refused. Not once did he show himself on camera. Not one time. He refused to show himself on camera. And at one point, he actually has the audacity to ask if this deposition is being recorded as Shara is in tears crying for the safety of a child, which I find ironic because Deuce has illegally recorded. Yes, Deuce himself has partaken in so much illegal activity, illegally recording in a conversation with Randy, my lawyer, as Randy calls him and says, hey, we're filing to add you as a defendant. And Deuce goes, wait, hold a second. Wait, one moment. And there's a pause and Randy comes back. Are you recording? Bye. You better give me some sugar right here before you go. Oh, thank you. And Deuce says, yes, I am. Well, let's take a look at this. Number one, in the state of Florida, two-party consent state, or it's otherwise known as all-party consent state, illegal to record somebody without their consent. This is going to become really important when we talk about the walruses and an iPad that they claim that they have a Shara all over it, okay? Number two, Connecticut, illegal. All-party consent state, two-party consent state, same thing. Illegal to record somebody without them giving consent. Oh, you may go, he's not in Connecticut, he's in Massachusetts. Illegal! Massachusetts, Connecticut, Florida, all illegal. And Deuce is illegally recording Randy's phone calls. Isn't that ironic? Isn't that ironic? Oh, yeah, that's going to come up in federal court, too. So Deuce does not show his face whatsoever because he's already been humiliated because I've shared with you exactly what he looks like and what he was doing during the deposition. One of the things that Shara shares with us, and I can't stress this enough, Shara did an incredible job today. And Shara did this under distress as well, and not distress that somebody was forcing her to do it. And distress is the wrong word. It is stress that she has family in the hospital. And while family comes first, and I always state that, family comes first, she knew this was so important, she still was there for a 7-hour deposition. And she did absolutely phenomenal, especially with the stress, no sleep, family member in the hospital. And we want to continue to pray for Shara's family member in the hospital and for Shara as well, as she's under constant threats, which are being pursued in the federal court from the individuals making them, being walruses, Patty Plummer, Deuce, and the list goes on and on. But I'm gonna get into more of that. So one of the things that Shara shares with us first is the history of how she even got involved with Lynette, which would be Lynette pursuing Jamie Starr Johnson. Now, Jamie Starr Johnson went a little viral for a little bit, had a little bit of fame online. And what does Lynette do? What is her pattern? Somebody's famous, she wants to latch onto them, and she wants to grift from them. You see the pattern here. And so Shara shares this pattern of Lynette's life, pursuing Jamie off of her fame. And then where does she go after that? She's pursuing what the Hales because of their fame. Oh, it gets way crazier. Oh, by the way, Shara also shares with us Deuce pursued her. Shara didn't contact Deuce, just like I've never contacted anybody involved in this. No family member, no individuals. Everybody has contacted me in one way or another. And it was Deuce that contacted Shara and never disclosed. I can't stress this enough. He never, ever disclosed he was representing Lynette and Crook as their attorney. You think that's an ethical issue? What do you think the court is going to think about this in federal court? What do you think a jury is going to think about this? All right, so what we learned from Shara, who is very courageous and very brave coming forward under a insurmountable amount of threats, which again are very serious, are very illegal, witness tampering, witness intimidation, and all being pursued in the federal case. So those that are doing it, if you keep doing it, you're going to find yourself found guilty of even more things. And let me just keep going. So Deuce actually contacts Shara, solicits Shara to do YouTube shows with them to cover the Hale's case. So that's how Shara gets involved with Deuce. Deuce is contacting her and saying, hey, will you do videos with me on YouTube to cover the case? You know, Deuce, who wants to be a full-time YouTuber now, wants to be famous. He wants to get the subs. He wants to grift off of the Hale's life story, which as you read the transcripts or as you hear Megan and Tug and Shizzy read the transcripts, you're going to hear me tell Deuce, say my name. Say it. It's what the Hales, not what the Lynette, not what the Crook. It's what the Hales. They inserted themselves into our lives, not the other way around. Just like Deuce aggressively tried to insert himself into Shara's life. He was very aggressive per Shara, and she was very cautious and even shared her caution and her concerns with Lynette. Deuce wanted her to send people. This is insane. By the way, this is all testimony for court. Deuce wanted Shara to share and send emails, that he wrote, and for Shara to send them out as if she wrote them. Can we all say this together? Not debunked. Illegal. Deuce wants Shara to be the ghostwriter. Now, have we seen this happen already in cases? Yep. Deuce illegally writing motions to dismiss the federal case, and Lynette and Crook being pro se litigants and never disclosing that Deuce did this. You think this is coming up in federal court? You better believe it. You think Deuce is going to have a law license after this? There ain't no way in Hales. No way in Hales. The things he's done. Oh, you know, Deuce writing on behalf of Stark. Oh, and then can't get the middle initial right. Interesting, isn't it? So Lynette would contact Shara in regards to Jamie, which is the pattern of stalking. Lynette would contact Shara and say, hey, you know, what's going on with Jamie? I want to know what's going on with Jamie once Jamie had her moment of fame. And Lynette would literally tell Shara things like, I'm just like Jamie. I just feel so connected with Jamie. And leech and grift off of that momentary fame. And Lynette literally reached out to Jamie pursuing her fame, the ultimate grift, which you're going to see more of this. This is a pattern of her life. There are more people coming forward. There are more people willing to testify that this is what they do everywhere. Now, you see what we do? We work. You see work is happening right now. You know how we make money? We work. We don't expect others to do it for us. Now, we are very gracious when others send super chats and very gracious when others send gifts and very great. And those are rewards for your labor and for your work. And we should be rewarded, rightfully so, if you feel that and you want to participate in that. And things such as Christmas in the Creek, rewarding the kids, making sure they have a good time. All of these things are the byproduct of hard work, not grifting, not begging, not stalking. All right. So Lynette told Shara that things along the lines that I was framing her and I was going to unalive her. So Lynette reaches out to Shara in regards to all this and says that I was framing her. Now, what in the world I was framing her for, I have no idea. And she tells Shara that I was going to attempt to unalive her, which is going to be really interesting because Shara gives testimony later about who's truly at threat of being unalived. And now Shara is at threat of this as well. Okay, so, oh, by the way, all of this before we ever released anything on YouTube online, thinking that the only accountability and the only safety for our lives is to make sure this information is public. And really, that is the only thing we can count right on now for our safety, is this information is out there in the public. So if and when something happens to us, if and when something happens to Shara, everybody knows who did it. Can you imagine having to live every single day wondering, is today the last day? Can you imagine living every single day wondering, will my loved one be taken from me today? And then having a judge, a corrupt judge, take your means of protection away from you and protecting your family and your loved ones. All right, let me keep going on. It has not been easy by any stretch of the imagination. Lynette told Shara that Jeremy and a group of people were plotting to unalive Russ the Sus. Now, this one is just mind-blowing to me. So in the very beginning, Lynette tells Shara that I and a group of people are going to unalive Russ the Sus in a hunting trip. Well, isn't that interesting? Number one, I don't allow anybody to hunt on my property. Number two, I'm not a hunter myself. And number three, he's still alive. Unless you're Lynette. He's dead. He's not dead. Interesting, isn't it? Where does all this stuff come from? To the point that she told the walruses, you know, the two lies, the leeches, the walruses, who, oh my goodness, are the condemning evidence today against these two in federal court. Oh boy. We're gonna get to it. And by the way, Deuce will not be able to represent them. They will have to find a federal lawyer to represent them. She told the walruses that she wanted Shara to, she told the walruses that they wanted Shara to get a quote on audio about me and a group of people attempting to unalive Russ the Sus, which is a complete and total lie and defamation. Complete and total lie and defamation. To the point where Mary Mathis Scary reported this to the sheriff office. This is the first time we're learning about any of this. We had no idea there were any reports whatsoever. So apparently Lynette lies to Shara, Lynette lies to others, Lynette lies, and Mary DeGroot actually reports it. We knew nothing about this. We thought we had every report with my name in it. Wow. Lynette. Shara shares during the deposition, Lynette has lied on so many levels that Shara says, I feel violated, manipulated, violated. The actual quote that I wrote down is Shara said, Lynette has lied on so many levels, I feel violated. Completely and totally taken advantage of financially, completely and totally taken advantage of her life's work. She could have actually been pursuing something and helping somebody else. To the point where now her and her own family are under attack and under threat and in fear daily. And this is where it got really odd, like 20 minutes into it. Deuce literally needs Randy, my lawyer, to teach him what he can and he cannot do during a federal deposition and what he can and cannot object on. It's literally a shouting match. Deuce is yelling, which he's putting in a motion to the federal court that I'm yelling at him, shut up, as he's interrupting me because he doesn't like the answer because it's incriminating to him and others. And he's literally has to have Randy teach him what he can do and can't do in regards to objections in a federal court deposition. This man is so out of his league, and I wouldn't even call him a man. This child is so out of his league. He has no clue what he's doing whatsoever. And this goes on and on to the point where Deuce demands the court reporter to read the stipulations of the deposition, which is not a court reporter's job. Wow. And then he follows up, because Randy won't teach him what he can and cannot do. He follows up by saying, well, then I'm going to say objection every time to everything. Which he still was not showing himself on the screen, just audio. Oh, do you think the magistrate got called today? You better believe it. Deuce's inappropriate behavior. But we're going to get to that. And Shara goes on after this whole where Randy has to educate him on what he can do, even though he's supposed to be a lawyer with a license, supposed to be licensed to actually litigate in federal court, which he's not even going to have the opportunity to go. I believe 100% that the magistrate is going to include him as a defendant. Just mind-blowing. The complete and total childishness. And the funny thing is Deuce later is throwing other people under the bus. Oh, you think you're safe with them? No, you're not at all. So then once we get past this whole education of what you can object to and what you can't object to in a federal court case deposition, and then he goes, I'm just going to object to everything. Shara goes on to share with us that Lynette's lies keep increasing to the point where there's a major fallout. And Shara has received audio messages from Lynette, and Shara is playing these on her YouTube channel and her Facebook page with the walruses now publicly stating that it's AI, which is defamation against Shara. Listen, I can't even begin to tell you how foolish these individuals are. They have no grasp or concept of what they've done to themselves in the legal realm and what is going to happen to them in the legal realm. So now you've got the two lies, as Shara likes to call them, which is way more than two lies, going out and saying everything that Shara has is AI. That's funny because it's now part of evidence in a federal court case, and there has nothing to do with AI. It's all taken directly from, Lynette is stating it too. Oh, not only that, Lynette, this poor, desolate individual, is in their chat last night talking about the cruise that they're planning that all these fools are funding. How about you actually finish a house? Here's the interesting thing. Shara actually told us through this process that she was working on a grant with Home Depot to finish Lynette's house. She had it halfway completed. Home Depot was going to come in and finish the entire thing. And Lynette kept lying and lying and lying and lying and lying. And she pulled away. If Lynette would have just been honest, the house would be done already. Shara was trying to help her. And all Lynette did, just like she does to anybody who comes on that property, verbally destroys them, lies about them, defames them with some of the most grotesque statements whatsoever when she doesn't get her way. So Shara receives all these audio messages, and there's so many more. And now the two lies, the walruses, are trying to claim it as AI. Oh, yes, that's coming up in federal court for sure. And yes, they will both be defendants. I know right now you're going, wait, it's just Weeks. It's Walrus Weeks that's a defendant. Yep, right now. I told you, wave one. There's another wave coming, and then another wave coming. As more evidence comes forward, more defendants are being filed in a conspiracy of defamation, extortion. Shara clearly states that she is fearful of Deuce. He's threatened her with speaking, and so have the walruses. Shara clearly communicates in a federal deposition her utter fear of being threatened constantly on a daily basis by Deuce and the walruses. What are the walruses so afraid of? That's right. That's right. She has real evidence. She actually has the truth. So she's constantly being threatened. Oh boy, it's not just them. We're going to get into more with Patty Plummer. We're going to get into more. We're going to get into a lot more. So she's fearful, and rightfully so. Deuce has threatened her with speaking at all. So have the walruses. And Deuce would actually send her emails and tell her to send it with her name like she wrote it. You think that's an ethical issue for a lawyer? You think a lawyer should actually have a license with all these major ethical issues? So, okay, all right. So, and Shara is giving all the information and all the evidence. I mean, it's huge. We didn't even get into all the evidence, and so much more is coming forward. Deuce is threatening her with lies, with lawsuits, claiming that everything he ever said is privileged communication. No. Shara clearly stated she was manipulated. He yells at her constantly. He demeans her. He screamed at her because she didn't perform the way he wanted her on Stupid Dave's live stream. Literally screaming and demeaning her because she didn't say what he wanted her to say. She didn't do what he wanted her to do. Do you know what that is? A puppet master who's trying to claim that I'm in control, that I'm commanding all these people. And he's literally the puppet master of these people who are all going to be in federal court as defendants. And because Shara doesn't say what he wants her to say, because Shara doesn't do what he wants her to do, he screams, he yells, he demeans her. Curses. Oh, the cursing, the cursing, the cursing. You know, Lynette now stating that she's giving up the cursing. How many times have we heard this? And yet it's constant, every bit of communication. Oh, but they're going on a cruise now because people so foolish have given them money. Do you realize they will have nothing at the end of this? You're sending them on a cruise. They are literally threatening people's lives to the point where you're going to see in just a little bit, as of 2 months ago, Crook was still looking for a hitman to kill me. We're going to get to it, I promise. All right. We get into more of the deposition, where not only is Deuce screaming and yelling and cussing at Shart, but so are the walruses, treating her like complete and total trash, and so are others. Lynette told Shara that she wanted to sue me from the very beginning before I ever even released anything what she was doing in our lives, which we finally released for accountability and safety purposes. That's why this is being released right now, for accountability and safety purposes. Without this information being out there, our lives are on constant attack and threat. If anything happens to us, everybody knows who did it. We can't wait till August in the federal court. Lynette told Shara that she was watching What the Hales well before moving to Otter Creek. There were benefits. She tells Shara there were major benefits to her moving to Otter Creek because I was going to build something amazing like Disney, and property values would increase. Wait, hold a second. I thought Lynette's been watching a piece of property since 2018, which no COVID, which no child born, which wasn't even on the market. And I could go on and on and on. Just another lie. Jamie said that Lynette wanted her to move in. Remember the whole camper on the property? Jamie has clearly stated that Lynette wanted her to move in on the property so Lynette could kick Crook out. And why Jamie Jamster was on the property with the camper, Jamie was paying for electric, being made to work like a slave just to even have the camper on the property so that Lynette could kick Crook out. Her soulmate? You know, all these people coming forward with information. All right. Then Deuce finally comes back in not on screen. He refuses to show his face. Completely and totally refuses to show his face, any surrounding, anything. Why? Because I'm telling you the truth of what actually is going on with him during the depositions. And he doesn't want you to know that or see it. He comes in and he starts complaining. We need a new court reporter because this is going to go past. So what happens when you file for a deposition? You get a court reporter, but that court reporter said, hey, I have to be done at 11. I'm going to have to give you a new court reporter. And then Deuce wants to know, why is this going to be an all-day deposition when it's already scheduled? It starts at 9 and the deposition ends whenever it ends, and it has to end at 4 because of 7-hour limitation on a federal court case deposition. And Deuce is complaining up and down. As a matter of fact, you're going to find out Deuce left twice, literally left the deposition. The most childish thing I think I've ever seen. Then we go into the whole lie about Lynette waving me down on the road in the tractor, and that's how she met me, which is a complete total lie. She emailed me. She said, hi, I'm your new neighbor. Can you bring your tractor over? Geez, how do you think she knows I have a tractor? Well, I have a tractor because she watches all the videos. How does she know about Otter Creek? Well, John Crook already has that in evidence as well. As already stated, they never knew about Otter Creek until they watched What the Hales. Does anybody want to try and debunk Lynette's statements that she saw me on a tractor in the road? Why would I have a tractor? Why would I have a $50,000 tractor on North Otter Creek Avenue? I only own the 70 acres at that time. I don't even own the additional church lot. I don't own the schoolhouse. Why would I be on the road with a $50,000 tractor? It's all a lie. I was not in the road. She never flagged me down. And Shara goes on to say that Lynette told her when I came over with the tractor after she flagged me down in the road, all I did was look at Jamie's breastises. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm all about the white meat. And I'm a white meat lover. I'm a connoisseur of white meat. There is no doubt about it. I am 100% manly man, and I like chicken breast. And yet, Jamie told Shara that never, ever happened, that I was never looking at the white meat. So Lynette, who claims she weighed me down on the road to get my attention, I'm on a tractor, and then all I did was look at Jamie's chicken breast. And how am I doing that when I'm trying to move a giant tree on a tractor? I never once got off the tractor. I drove the tractor from the ranch over to that property to move a tree and then drove back to the ranch house. How am I literally driving a tractor, moving a giant tree, and looking at chicken breasts? Can anybody? Come on. And even Jamie tells Shara this is all a lie. And yes, Jamie's coming forward as well. Shara then goes on to say that she wanted the property, that Lynette told her that she wanted the property to get away from COVID. And that she was watching the property since 2018, which again, I just shared with you. There's no COVID in 2018, and the child's not even born. Crook didn't like Shara because Shara would call him out on defamatory Facebook posts. For example, and the one that was brought up in the actual deposition a lot was George has cancer now in her, we'll just say a-hole. But he used the actual $. And Shara would tell him, hey, this is not a smart idea. You need to stop that immediately. And it goes on into the aspect of how Lynette did not get to receive donations, and Randy uses the word donators. So he's talking about Half Meal Time to Grill and is asking Shara, he's like, you know about Half Meal Time to Grill and how Lynette wanted to receive money from all the donators. And we get an objection, one of the stupidest objections I've ever heard in my life from Deuce. He finally unmutes himself, as he already told us earlier, as he had to be educated what he could object to anyway. And he says he's going to object to everything, but then he stops and he mutes himself. And then he objects. He goes, I object. The word is donor, not donators. This is their lawyer. He objects to the word donators. Well, it can be a donor or a donator. All right. Deuce interrupts Shara. And by the way, this is completely and totally illegal. Deuce interrupts Shara when questions about the signs. He cannot interrupt her, which is witness intimidation. He cannot say anything. That would be coaching of a witness with intimidation. Deuce interrupts Shara as she's answering. This isn't just happened once. This happens multiple times. And Randy says, if you do it again, I'm calling the magistrate, which, by the way, the magistrate is finally called. We'll get to it. So what Deuce does is backpedals like a little child being caught. No, you don't have to do it. You don't have to call the magistrate, which he did in my deposition as well. No, I won't do it again. I won't do it again. Like a child being caught with his hand in a cookie jar. You don't have to do it. And then Lynette says to Shara, and Shara has all the proof. Lynette says to Shara, if anybody wrote the signs, it was John. We're talking about the defamatory signs of me. Lynette throwing John under the bus for the signs. Now, we already know Lynette wrote half the signs, and I don't believe that John wrote the other half. I see no handwriting samples that match that other half with John. And Lynette tells Shara that as soon as she gets money, which she wanted from me, that she was going to get rid of Crook. Isn't that interesting? Why is Crook still there when all this woman does is talk about getting rid of him? When all this woman does is throw him under the bus, literally throws him to the sheriff as well, rightfully so. But she goes on and on. This is my first interaction with her. She emails, will you help me? I say yes. She says, you're my new neighbor. We're your neighbors. I'm a super fan. We're your new neighbors. Will you help me? I want to be a good neighbor. I go and help. And the first thing she says as she meets me in person is, my ex-husband isn't moving. I want him to die. And I'm on a tractor going, who says that? This is insane. And then she's telling people that all I'm doing is looking at somebody's boobs. Don't get me wrong. I like boobs. I'm not gay. I like boobs. But that did not happen. That did not happen that day whatsoever. All right. And if Shara questioned anything against Lynette's lies or Crook's lies, they would start yelling and screaming at her. And Shara told Deuce that she was extremely concerned for the child, and things got very emotional. You guys already know how concerned we are for this child that is living in unsanitary and unhealthy conditions with unhealthy people. And Shara shared with Deuce her extreme concern for this child. By the way, I want to make it very, very clear that I use these names because I am not promoting Deuce. Nor will I ever promote Deuce because that's what he wants. He wants promotion. I'm not promoting the Walruses because that's what they want. They want promotion. I'm not promoting Stupid Dave because that's what he wants. He wants promotion. I'm not promoting Lynette or Crook. That's what they want. They want promotion. They got it. They've received more money now than they've ever received in the combination of their lives beforehand. And they've all done it the wrong way. So when I use these names, I'm not promoting individuals who have done such horrific things. When Shara told Deuce that she was concerned for the child, Lynette was very abrasive, non-loving of the child. She has all these audio files. She has all this information. Lynette's very abrasive, non-loving to the child, threatened the child. This one was mind-blowing. Lynette is threatening HG with melatonin and going to put it in the feeding tube to knock her out while she's with Shara communicating. And HG goes in a complete and total panic and fear. This is supposed to be a loving mother that adopted this child to save this child's life. No, this is a woman who sought out a child to get government assistance so she wouldn't have to work. Uses the child for income and for fundraising so she doesn't have to work, and is using other individuals for the very same thing so she doesn't have to work. This is hideous. This is horrific that this child has to live in constant fear that if she doesn't do what Lynette says and just locked up all day, that she's going to be knocked out with melatonin through her feeding tube. By the way, there's other things I'm not even going to share with you. It's so grotesque. So horrific. So horrible. And yes, CPS was contacted. What do you think CPS did? Levy County. What's the sheriff do? Nothing. What's CPS do? Nothing. There's no protection for us here. There is no protection for us here. The only protection we have is a camera right now. The only thing that I truly believe that's keeping us alive right now with these fools is cameras. Cameras are running. And while I don't want to be sharing this, this needs to be shared for our own protection and for Shara's protection. I can't say this enough. We need protection. Shara needs protection. Our lives are being threatened on a daily basis. Then Deuce has the audacity to jump back in and ask yet again, is this being videotaped? Wait, hold a second. The guy who files a motion that he doesn't want the depositions videotaped and released, then files a motion that he wants the depositions released. Oh, by the way, the depositions are released, as I shared earlier, if you just jumped in. Megan Fox will be going over a reading with that umbrella guy, Tug, tonight, 8 o'clock on Megan Fox's channel. They're going to vice versa. They're going to bounce back and forth. It's going to be on Megan Fox, then that umbrella guy, Megan Fox, that umbrella guy. And they're going to go 2 hours at a time. And I promise you, you're going to have a good time listening. And Shizzy Wiznut is going to be going over the deposition readings as well. He typically is streaming in the mornings and sometimes in the evenings. Actually, both usually. I don't know when he's going over the reading, but I promise you, you're going to learn a lot. You're going to learn a lot. And Deuce's biggest concern when a child is being talked about, when a child is being exploited, when a child is being abused, when a child is being threatened with melatonin in the feeding tube, his biggest concern is this being videotaped? How sick. What a horrible human being. What a horrible, horrible human being. Shara went to Deuce about all of this abuse, and Deuce ignored it. This is from Shara's account in the deposition. Instead, Deuce asked Shara for a clip of Mary to play on the Walrus's channel. That's how concerned Deuce is for this child. When she comes forward and says there are major concerns, there's abuse going on, Deuce wants a clip to play on the Walrus's channel because all Deuce cares about is his own gain and fame. And the fame he's getting, his own words, he's a famous lawyer now. The fame he's getting is for all the wrong reasons. And at the end of this, I truly 100% believe he will not have a bar license anymore. The hideous things he has done. Deuce, the Walruses, others are blaming Shara from withholding public information. Now, can somebody actually define public for me? Public means anybody has access to it. Public means they can get to it. Public means why don't they get off their butts and do their own job? And yet they're saying that Shara is withholding public information. How can Shara withhold public information when it's for the public and they can get it themselves? And he's stating that she's withholding it. They needed it for the Ohio contempt of court cases. Deuce then interrupts Shara yet again. Witness intimidation, witness coaching, trying to answer the questions for her, which then Randy immediately calls the magistrate in the federal court. And Deuce is literally going, no, you don't have to do it. And Randy goes, we're calling. We're not playing games anymore. We're calling. He's like, no, I won't do it again. He's literally begging. He's begging Randy not to call the magistrate. Begging Randy like a child with his hand in the cookie jar. Begging him not to call the magistrate. Randy calls the magistrate. Randy does not get to the magistrate. We find out later through email. The magistrate emails us and says, I'm sorry, I'm in court all day. If you have any issues, file a motion, which a motion will be filed against Deuce. I apologize. And I think this is a good time to say, don't contact anybody in regards to this life story of what the Hales. And so Randy calls the magistrate, leaves a message, and Deuce is so dumb. Randy leaves the message about what Deuce is doing, witness intimidation, trying to finish give the answers to the question for Shara. And then Deuce literally on the message goes, that won't be necessary. Literally shouting out like a child to the magistrate with his hand caught in the cookie jar. Say, I won't do it again. Guess how many more times he does it? Multiple. Magistrate is called. Magistrate emails us later. We take a lunch break. We get the email from the magistrate. I'm in an all-day hearing. File a motion. And we're going to bring him down to Pensacola. motion will be filed, and Deuce will be in Pensacola, as will Lynette, as will Crook. Oh, wait, there's a whole issue. They can't have anybody around this child. And yet there's a live stream with the child on somebody's lap with no face mask, neither the child or the walrus. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? As a matter of fact, that child is all over YouTube, and yet there's some kind of thumbnail and use of image lawsuit. Isn't that interesting? And by the way, let me just keep going. So the magistrate is called. Deuce, like a little child, is screaming in the background. Dude, that will be necessary. It won't happen again. And then he goes on to do it more. Deuce begs him, saying he was only trying to help. He wasn't coaching the witness. That's completely and totally illegal what he did. And he didn't stop after that. All right. Shara goes on to share her fear and the threats that she's received from this entire anti-what the Hale's ecosystem, meaning the walruses, meaning Patty Plummer, meaning Deuce, meaning Stupid Dave, meaning others in this realm as well, which will all be included as defendants in this actual federal court case, all of it. And I will touch on more of that here in just a little bit. Even the walruses threatened her last night. If she speaks, how stupid can they be? They are involved in a federal court case, and they are witness intimidation, witness tampering, and threatening a witness. If they tell the truth, there'll be repercussions. No, the repercussions are going to be coming for the walruses. Like, how dumb can you be? It's just mind-blowing. It's literally mind-blowing. So Shara states all the fear that she is in currently because of all the threats by the entire team. The earliest or the latest threat being last night on another live stream, if she speaks. And Deuce is present during all of these severe illegal threats. He's there. This is witness intimidation 101. Like, this is not going to go well for them at all. At all. Can you imagine what a jury's going to say when a walrus gets up there and Shara goes, by the way, here's what they said. We have everything screenshot, everything screen recorded. Their channel will be taken down. It'll be a couple weeks. We got to work on it. We had YouTube keep it up till we had everything. We have everything we need. They will be taken down. And we still have all the evidence. Can you imagine what a jury's going to say about this? Can you imagine you sitting there as a jury and you're hearing this, hearing what they're saying on a live stream, and Deuce is there, who is not a lawyer, who will be a defendant, who is claiming to be the lawyer for Lynette and Crook? Can you imagine what the jury's going to think and say? While the defendants are actually in the chat on Two Leaves talking about the next cruise they're going on. Lynette texted her just a couple weeks ago, Shara, and said an eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth. That's a direct threat. And it's been preserved and reported to law enforcement as well. Lynette told Shara 3 different stories about the child in regards to, remember when Lynette said that George came onto her property and George told her to just throw the baby away in the garbage. And then she says she told George to get the F off the property, which is all a lie. All of it is a lie. 3 different stories in regards to George being on the property and with the child. Number 1, George told Lynette to throw the baby away in the garbage. Number 2, George told her to just throw the baby out. Number 3, give the baby up for adoption. Which is it? Shara has every reason to fear for her life. Every reason, as she's continued to be threatened by these individuals on a daily basis. That being the walruses, that being Deuce, that being Lynette, that being Crook. And again, you're going to see more of that reason why in just a little bit. Shara told Deuce in the very beginning that something is very off about this case. And Deuce told Shara the child will be fine as he cussed and yelled at her. And then Shara said, Shara shared with us that she literally witnessed Deuce threaten another witness in the gun case. Literally threaten. Deuce is coming in on other people's channels and making direct threats, witness intimidation, and tampering in other cases. This guy is not going to have a license at the end of this. Shara stated that Deuce told her that she was acting like a 10-year-old when asking questions about what they were doing, about this, what the Hale's anti-ecosystem, the things they're saying, the defamation, the lies that they're telling. Lynette told her that Crook was drunk with the gun during the gun incident that Crook went to jail for 40 days for. Oh, there's way, way more. There's a loaded firearm near the child's toys while Crook is drunk, and Lynette has to wait for him to fall asleep to get these firearms out of the cabinet, all near the child's toys. Now, what part of this is not concerning for CPS? We got a runk with multiple guns in a closet that any child can get to, all around her toys. Major issue. What's Deuce's response to that? What's the Walrus's response to that? Oh, we've seen some of Stupid Dave's responses. Oh, let's rally around. He's recovering. How about we don't champion those who are in recovery? How about we champion those that don't need to be in recovery? Now, I'm not saying don't champion those who are going through recovery. There are some hard things in people's lives. But how about the ones that never needed to go through recovery? Shouldn't we be looking at them and going, how'd you do it right? How stupid of Stupid Dave. Oh, man, he's so great right now. The man is drunk with firearms around a child constantly. At that point, Deuce interrupts yet again, which he already stated, as the magistrate was called, that he wasn't going to do anymore. It won't be necessary. It won't happen again. And he does it again. Witness intimidation, witness tampering, and trying to coach and trying to answer for the witness. Court reporter comes in and says, everybody stop. One person speak at a time. So Deuce finally mutes himself after being taught what is legal yet again by Randy, because he has no freaking clue. How in the world this man is a lawyer, I will never, ever, ever. And you're going to see in the transcripts of my deposition, I tell him, you're the best lawyer I've never had to pay. All you do is incriminate yourself and all those you represent and all those in your circle of influence. Thank you. I don't think I added the thank you. You'll see it on Megan Fox and on Tug and on Shizzy Wisnut. Deuce told Shara to stop asking questions about the guns. Shara says in Messenger that Lynette and Crook lied to the police. Lynette turned against, this is another one. This is funny, okay? You've got, we'll say TC, we'll just go TC, who claims to live in Otter Creek, yet he doesn't. That Lynette turned TC against Shara, and that told TC that she's a mole, which is funny because in the beginning, Lynette actually said that TC was working for me. Remember, everybody works for me. Everybody's under my control. TC was actually using my name illegally in all the titles. He would never even have a viewership unless he illegally used my name in all of his titles and claiming that it was a What the Hale's video when none of it ever was. And he was sent a cease and desist to stop. He was also sent a no trespass. And he's lucky he hasn't been in court yet, but I'm sure it's going to happen in this federal case. And then he's going to whine and cry that he's a victim. No, none of these individuals are victims. They're getting justice for the consequences of the illegal things that they have said and done. Isn't that funny? Lynette was 100% against TC, a liar who claimed that he was from Otter Creek, yet he wasn't. But now they're like that, and Lynette tells TC that Shara is a mole for me. Shara is not a mole for me. Shara just sees the evidence and went, here's the truth. And is extremely concerned for a child. Isn't that Lynette's life pattern, though? You don't get what you want. And, oh, wait, here's the other thing. Lynette told people that Shara was abusing her. That's the life pattern. Oh, I guarantee you she's going to say this about Deuce as well. These people are all going to self-implode and try and throw each other under the bus. She's going to do it about the walruses too, and the walruses are going to do it about her. They're all going to self-implode. They're all going to be defendants in this federal case, and they're all going to try and throw each other under the bus. Well, it wasn't me, it was them. It wasn't me, I didn't do it. He told me to do it. He made me do it. She made me do it. Lynette's life pattern. She doesn't get what she wants. She stalks. She doesn't get what she wants. Then she defames. So now she's telling people that that Shara abused her. Lynette called Shara a cunt after she bought. So Lynette calls Shara a cunt after Shara buys all the insulation for the shed that Lynette is living in illegally in the state of Florida with a child that supposedly has some kind of life-threatening disease. How does any of this make sense? Shara, out of the kindness and the goodness of her own heart, buys the insulation so AC can actually be held within that shed that she's in illegally. And Lynette's response is to call her cunt. Lynette blew up on Shara when Shara confronted her on trying to shoot the neighbor's dogs. That would be Susie's dogs, Chihuahuas. And Shara went to public officials because Lynette wouldn't stop about trying to kill the dogs. Shara, after the CPOs, Lynette and Crook became more frantic and increased their activities against Jeremy and George. So Shara is saying, hey, you got civil protection orders against you. You need to back off. You need to stop. And instead, Shara's testimony is that they became even more frantic, increased their activities against us. Lynette would get upset when Shara would ask Lynette for documents. Lynette would get upset and she wouldn't provide any documents. Deuce interrupts again during the deposition and is reprimanded by Randy as he's trying to tell Shara. Deuce is trying to tell Shara what to say. At that point, we have a lunch break. And at that point, when we get back from the lunch break, Randy asks Deuce, do you have any intention to cross-examine Shara? Deuce says, I'll decide that at the appropriate time. Well, there's only 7 hours in the deposition in any given day. It'd be nice to know beforehand. Now, the smartest thing Deuce could actually do is shut his mouth and never open it again. That won't happen. I promise you, he'll be running it tonight. The smartest thing that the two leeches and the walruses could do is shut their mouth and never open them again. That won't happen. They'll be running them again tonight, and all of it will be used in federal court against them. So Deuce says, I'll decide at the appropriate time. Deuce interrupts Randy again, stating that he can't call Lynette. Randy completely and totally ignores him. And Lynette, we are told that Shara was told by Lynette that her mother died. Oh, wait. But her mother didn't die. Then we get into Marla Hughes, who is going to be added to this federal court case as well for conspiracy of defamation. By the way, if you've entered yourself into any communication with Lynette, with Deuce, and the information and the evidence comes forth, guess what? You're a defendant. Oh, there's lots of people like Paul Hembry. There's, we could keep going. Patty Plummer. We could keep going on and on. Oh, Stupid Dave. We could keep going on and on. Marla is then brought up and talked about extensively as a defendant as well, as Marla is constantly telling Lynette to keep going after all of Jeremy's money. The entire theme of this group is go after and get Jeremy's money. And Shara is alarmed by all of this. She wants nothing to do with the money. She knows there's a massive problem here. They're slandering all over the internet, saying Shara was hired by Jeremy and Shara's a criminal. Shara was never hired. Shara and I have had one conversation up until this day, and that was one that I filmed and I put on YouTube. And that's it. Oh, but they think she's a mole. Maybe they have more moles in their groups than they know about. It's not a maybe. It's an absolute. Shara isn't a mole. Shara has never been paid by me, and Shara is not a criminal. And that's huge defamation coming from Marla Hughes, Patty Plummer, coming from Lisa Weeks, coming from Tori, coming from Stupid Dave, coming from Deuce. I don't think they understand the gravity of what they've involved themselves in. They will. As they're going to continue to claim victim, as they're going to continue to project, as they're going to continue to try and scramble to protect themselves, there is no protection anymore. This is going in front of a jury. It's a complete and total pattern. All right. Lynette stated that Jamie was working for me as well and was a mole. Jamie's never worked for me whatsoever. She wanted Jamie's camper. That's why she wanted Jamie on the property. And then she wanted to get Jamie's camper from her. Jamie tried to recover the camper. Lynette kicked Jamie off of her property and kept all of her personal items. And Jamie was left in the road with nothing to do. And now Jamie's life is destroyed because of Lynette. Lynette wanted that camper on her property so Lynette could live in that camper because she doesn't have a home. She's living illegally in a shed. And then she kicked Jamie off of the property and then tried to take possession of the camper, then found out that the camper was stolen, that an ex-husband purchased for Jamie. And Jamie is left with nothing on the road and somehow has to figure out how to get home. And then told that Jamie is a mole for me. That's funny because before she was saying that I'm the one that brought Jamie to Otter Creek. How can I bring anybody to Otter Creek? This is a situation that Lynette and Jamie actually planned. And even further, and in evidence, Lynette claims that the two walruses are her voice and her blog. I don't think these leeches know what this means for them legally. And Deuce has no concept of the law whatsoever. He is, I am in awe that this individual is a lawyer. Deuce and the walruses are interrogating. Let me state this. This goes into a very sensitive area for me with my son. Because my son, number one, which I don't openly talk about, has mental issues. And number two, my son has been alienated through parental alienation, which has only increased the symptoms of his mental issues. And Shara goes into the aspect of how Deuce and the walruses were literally interrogating my son with absolutely no legal representation. They're trying to dig into my personal finances, into medical issues, into his childhood. And it was appalling, literally appalling. Now, if Shara thinks that, what do you think the jury's going to think when they see this? My son, medically diagnosed with mental issues. No legal representation, being taken advantage of. Which, by the way, doesn't share anything incriminating whatsoever because there is nothing. And one of the things Shara said is, if anybody ever did that to her son, she doesn't know how she would respond. It was so gross and so horrific. And I agree with her. No child, especially a child with mental issues, should have to have ever gone through that. Because some freaks stalked me, harassed me, defamed me, extorted me, towards interference in my business of me. My son has nothing to do with that. He's not in danger. There's a 5-year-old right down the road that is. They were soliciting information inappropriately, Deuce and the walruses. Shara goes on to confirm that Crook's drugs and his alcohol with guns in the closet is huge concern, that Lynette tells her all the time that he continues to mix them. Now, keep in mind that Lynette is the same individual that states that her grandson, Landon, is abusing HG. And yet there's not a single police record of that, is there? And yet there's all this information about Lynette stating that about Landon, her own grandson. She doesn't get what she wants. She lies and defames you with the most grotesque things ever, stating her own grandson is abusing the child. No police reports whatsoever, though. Lynette and the sheriff both told Shara when she reported this that the whole spanking in the mouth was fake. And Shara contacts Levy County Sheriff and says, how in the world can it be fake? It's in a public record. Jeremy played it on what the Hales. Lynette said it. And they said, no, we have no record of that whatsoever. And Shara pushed and pushed and pushed and pushed. And finally, Levy County Sheriff finally released it. And then asked Levy County Sheriff, why wasn't this reported as abuse? And the sheriff never responded to her. Does that give you any confidence in the Levy County Sheriff Department here? It goes into Shara's testimony in regards to Lisa Weeks and all of her witness intimidation or blackmail, that if you tell the truth, will expose you from the iPad, which was shown again last night. Anybody want to guess what's illegal about that? Number one, if Lynette recorded Shara without her consent, that's illegal. Number two, witness intimidation. Number two, I mean, we could keep going on and on and on. Number three, blackmail. Number four, we could go. Do you all get this? Do you understand what's going to happen to these walruses? Do you understand what's going to happen to Robbie? He's going to get swamped in federal court. Do you understand what's going to happen to Deuce? He's going to lose his license. He's going to lose everything. Do you understand what's going to happen to Lynette and Crook? Yeah, keep throwing money at them. You understand that's all going to end up going back to us, and we don't even want it. We just want to be left alone. Deuce contacted Lynette first. In case you haven't figured this out, that's illegal. That's called ambulance chasing. And Shara gives us proof of that. Deuce contacted Lynette first via Facebook Messenger. He's an ambulance chaser, 100%. And then contacted Shara. And not only that, he's not the only one in this process. There's that guy calling himself the God of Law, who's behind a lot of this as well, who will most likely be added as a defendant very soon in this federal case. There's a conspiracy of defamation, Stupid Dave, driven by Deuce, MLS, God of Law. They're all mad because Shara has clearly stated that Lynette is 100% a public figure. She was working as the clerk at a town hall meeting. She ran for office. She's a public figure. And the funny thing is, Stupid Dave took a video down, then put it back up to try and harm Shara. Deuce yells, she's not a public figure, told her she's a private citizen and a private victim. Lynette and Crook file pro se motions to dismiss in this federal case that Deuce admits on the walruses that he wrote. You know what that is, right? Illegal. Can you even imagine how many charges there are going to be against these individuals in this federal case? Deuce told her that his goal is to create an anti-what the Hales ecosystem. No problem there. It's all in writing. Deuce needs 20 minutes then. He goes, you know what? We need to stop. I need 20 minutes to go pick up my daughter at school. Deuce is demanding a 20-minute break to go pick up his daughter at school. Argues that it's a recess. And Randy goes, no, we are not stopping. This was planned in advance. You had told me pick any day for any depositions. You are free any day, because he has no clients, because he is not a good lawyer, as can be seen. And then Deuce just goes and leaves. Literally just picks up and leaves. He goes, I don't care. I'm out. And leaves. During the deposition of Shara, which he needs because he's supposed to be representing Crook and Lynette in court. And he leaves. Not to mention, he's now a defendant once the magistrate approves it, which should be very soon. You understand, if you have to pick up your daughter from school every day, you should probably say that before you get yourself in a deposition that's 7 hours long. Deuce literally just leaves. So while Randy did not have to, Randy did put us on recess for another 15 minutes. We lost more time because of Deuce. So Shara tells Deuce, we all get back. Deuce gets back. Shara, she gives testimony that she told Deuce that Lynette stalked Jamie because of her fame and then defamed Jamie. And then in writing said, sound familiar? Exact same thing that she's done to me. This is the pattern of Lynette's life. And Deuce says to Shara, we're building the anti-what the Hales media ecosystem. And Shara completely and totally refused to be a part of that activity. And then they all turned on her. Patty Plummer, who gave Lynette the $7,000 for silver scam. Patty Plummer told Shara if she ever says her name, she's coming after her. Plummer tells Deuce in a text, anything to help taking Hales out. Is that a death threat? Patty Plummer, is that a death threat? Because that's going to be questioned in the federal court case, which you will now be a part of. Patty Plummer threatens Shara. She ever says her name, she's coming after her. Patty Plummer tells Deuce in a text, which we have a copy of, anything to help taking Hales out. Deuce's own messages throw Plummer under the bus and incriminate her. Like, I'm mind blown at what I'm seeing in this deposition. Oh, these are some things that I'm not allowed to talk about. It's next on my list. I can't talk about it. It will come up though, I promise. Some more illegal things that Deuce did. Shara goes on to say that the entire team wants to harm and intends to harm me and others, and that's a major concern, and wants to harm her, both physical, and Randy goes on, are there murder concerns? And Shara goes on to share that Lynette told Shara just months ago that John was looking for a hitman to kill me. Under oath, just 2 months ago, Lynette tells Shara that John was looking for a hitman to kill me. What about George? What about Shara? Oh, by the way, you people giving money to these individuals, is your money going towards a hitman? Are you going to be incriminated in that? What do you think Levy County Sheriff is going to do about this? Nothing. They want to destroy me financially. There's tons of Facebook messages with Deuce. Their goal is to destroy me financially, destroy all my personal relationships, destroy me physically, and Crook is looking for a hitman to kill me. And Shara is rightfully concerned and fearful that they're all coming for her as well with all the constant threats. Deuce threatened Shara if she released anything to do with him. Anything, he's threatening her. The walruses threatened her. Blackmail, witness intimidation, witness tampering. It goes on and on and on. Deuce finally states that he does want to cross-examine Shara, but he only needs 10 minutes. By the way, Shara's gone to law enforcement with all the threats from the walruses, from Stupid Dave, from Deuce, and from Patty, it goes on and on and on. We have copies of that as well in the federal court. Can you imagine what the jury is going to think about all this? In Deuce's 5 minutes, he asks nothing about the federal court case. He goes on and on and on about these stupid 4 documents, police reports from Levy County Sheriff that he states that Lynette and Crook needed in Ohio, where they were found guilty, contempt charges. And Deuce incriminates the God of law, MLS, in this. Literally incriminates God of law in this as well, which is great because now he can be added to the federal case as a defendant. And he then as Shara goes, trying to answer the question, then Deuce goes, yes, you do, to Shara. You know what that is? Intimidating witnesses. Yet again. Lynette told Shara to delete messages. Marla Hughes, who will be now part of the defendant in the federal case, told Shara to delete messages. Patty Plummer, who will now be a defendant in the federal case, told Shara to delete messages. All of them under threats. The walruses as well. Lisa Weeks, Tori. And then the most unusual thing happens yet again. Deuce already left once during the deposition, And with 15 minutes more to go, Deuce literally, in the most obnoxious, most unprofessional way, just goes, I'm out, I'm leaving. And he goes, I'm going to go pick up my daughter. Deuce leaves yet again. And then he states that he will not be ordering the transcripts because they cost money, and he has none. Wonder whose money everybody is going after. What is this all about? This is all about the aspect of stalking, harassing, defamation, extorting to try and get my money. And I share this because we need protection. And the only protection that we are getting right now isn't coming from Levy County Sheriff. It's coming from exposing the truth. And I want to say that Shar did an incredible job today exposing the truth under all these threats from all these individuals who will be held accountable in federal court case. This is very serious. And if you align yourself with these individuals, you're going to find yourself in the federal court as well. This is extremely serious. This is life damaging. And Shara needs to be protected. I need to be protected. George needs to be protected. Deanna needs to be protected. The Hudson sisters need to be protected. Sissy needs to be protected. The child needs to be protected. I hope you grasp and you understand the seriousness of all this. And there's some things from the deposition I can't share. Now, legally, I can share it all with you, but I'm not sharing it because of the legal direction that we're headed, and we're not going to show all of our cards. What we are going to do is show an incredible auction tonight in just 15 minutes. George and I are going live on Whatnot if you want to join us. And at 8 o'clock tonight, Megan Fox and Tug are going to be reading my deposition transcripts. And at a bare minimum, I promise you, you are going to see how pathetic Deuce is as a lawyer, and you're going to laugh. So don't forget, join us for our auction at 7. Everybody who sent a super chat, thank you so much. Thank you for all your prayers and all your support. Continue to pray for Shara and for her family. She has a family member in the hospital. Pray for Shara. Pray for her safety as well. We aren't the only ones now that need to be protected. As more witnesses come forward, more threats are coming out from these horrific individuals. Protection is everything, and we should be able to live with peace of mind, and so should Shara. We'll see you at 7 on Whatnot. We'll see you at 8 with Megan and Tug. And thank you so much for all your support. Thank you so much for all your love. And please continue to pray for us and for Shara as well.